dimples at the back of the pelvis, generally just inside the dimples at the back of your pelvis. That's around where the SI joint is. If you make two little guns with your hands, I know that's not very politically correct, and then you tuck them into your back pockets like this. This is kind of the shape of your SI joint. So you have the thumb side is a bit more vertical and the finger side is a little bit more horizontal. So that's kind of how it is shaped. We're gonna work on the ends of it. We're gonna work on the top, like thumb end and the fingertip end. So we're gonna try and balance those out a little bit. So anyways, we have to start by warming up our body a little. So you're just gonna start with a nice easy march. So lift your knee, good. Go into opposition with your arms. And how hard you work here is all up to you. So you decide the level of effort you put in for the entire class, not just for this warm-up, but for the whole class. We were talking last night about the level of effort and staying really aware of your breath to tell whether or not you're working too hard. If your breath tightens and shortens, you might be working too hard. Try to find a level of tension and expansion in your body where you can still breathe calmly and deeply. So that's going to be, again, a goal for tonight's class. Can you breathe? Can you stay calm in your mind, but then expand into all the postures? Okay, let's just move the arms overhead, up and down, just to get a little bit more blood flow. Good, and then I also want you to hike your hip up. So you're gonna lift one side and the other side. Good, nice tall through your spine. Maybe you're starting to breathe a little bit faster, feel your heart rate go up a little more. Let your pelvis tip, if that feels okay. And then just relax your arms back to opposition and back to regular marching. And just go a little bit faster if you like. Swing your arms, pick up your feet. 10 more seconds of this. Elongate your spine, push the crown of your head right up against your ceiling. Pull your tailbone down. Just a few more seconds. And then make it a little smaller and a little smaller. And relax your feet on the floor. Okay, turn your toes and your knees in. Toes about shoulder distance, heels out a little wider, hands on your pelvis. And you're just gonna straighten and bend your knees. And if you can take if you want, you can take your hands back to that SI joint area, the dimple-ish area, and you can probably feel some movement back there. Some of it will be muscular movement, but some of it, especially if you're keeping your pelvis upright, some of it will be bony movement. So just see if you can sense anything, and maybe it's different from side to side. Just a few more knee bend and stretch. And then bend your knees, keep them there. Hands go back on the hip bones and tuck and untuck your pelvis. And this doesn't have to be really big, just a couple of moments to move the pelvis and work on lengthening the spine at the same time. So while you tuck and untuck, the crown of your head gently pushes up. Your ribs lift away from your pelvis and you breathe into your back. Good, let's do 3 more, posterior and anterior tilts. And 1 more. And then relax everything, come and stand nice and tall. So we're gonna use the book first. Before you step on the book, those of you who haven't done this stretch with me, your quadratus lumborum runs from your bottom rib to the top of your hip. So those 2 areas we're gonna try and move apart. You may find in the stretch that you have to flex forward a little bit through the spine, but keep your posterior tilt, keep your tuck. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna face you, and you're gonna either put yourself perpendicular to the wall or facing the wall, as long as you can kind of see me. And we're all gonna put our right foot on the book or the block. So you're standing on your right leg, your left toes are just down on the floor. So tall on that right side. Now, right at the, your right hand should be on the wall, by the way. So here's my imaginary wall with my right hand. So right foot on the block or the book, right hand on the wall. Now just tuck your tailbone under like we were just doing. Reach up through the crown of your head. Take a couple nice deep breaths there. Take your left arm out to the side in external rotation with a flat palm. If you have room, bring it up to the side or bring it out in front of you all the way up towards your ear. So bring the heel of your hand right up to the ceiling. And then externally rotate that left arm and push it way up. Flat palm right into the ceiling. And you should feel all this tissue and your bottom ribs lifting with your arm. Now keep your pelvis tucked under and just lift your left foot off the floor and push your left heel down. So the pelvis is tucked, the left palm reaches up, dragging all that fascia and tissue up with it, and the left heel pushes down into the floor. And you try and draw the bottom left rib away from the bottom or away from the left hip crest. Good, tuck your chin and elongate your neck spine. Take 2 more breaths here into the space between the bottom rib and the hip crest on that left side. And then you're gonna keep everything, bring your left leg now in front of you, cross it over your midline and turn the leg in. And again, push the hand up against the ceiling, elongate the spine, tuck the pelvis, and push the left heel down and across. Turn that left leg in a little more, reach the heel and the hand further apart. Hold here for 3. Nice deep breaths for 2. Breathe into the stretch, that left side. And 1. Good. First, bring your leg back in line with your side body. Bring your torso upright. Release the left arm down and come down off the block. Good. Other side. So remember, it's all about bottom rib to hip crest, elongating that space. Left foot is on the block and your left hand is on the wall. Keep your right toes down for now and start with your spine. So curling the tailbone under, a nice posterior tilt. The low back is flat. Elongate the neck. You can draw your chin in a little bit. And then let's take the right arm out to the side, external rotation and an extended wrist, and go ahead and bring it up by your ear. Once it's up by your ear, check that you're in maximum external rotation, and then push your hand right up against the ceiling. Bring your arm close to the side of your head and lift the right side of your ribs up. Keep the ribs lifted, take the right foot off the floor and push the right heel down. So essentially, by pushing your right heel to the floor and tucking your pelvis, you're trying to fix your right hip crest in place. And then by reaching up through the right hand, you're trying to pull the bottom rib away from that fixed hip crest. And check in on your breath. Can you elongate a little bit more and breathe into that space? And can you breathe calmly while you work hard? Okay, 1 more breath in that position. And then keep the arm reaching, bring the leg in front and across the body, turn it in, push the heel down and across, push the arm up and overhead more, let that right leg internally rotate, tuck the pelvis under. You may have to flex forward slightly through the spine to feel that stretch, and you're breathing into it for 5, 4, add your neck spine, your eyes, 3, 2, and then bring your leg back first. Bring your body upright. Lower your right foot to the floor, lower your arm, and come out of the stretch. Okay, just watch the camera for a second and I'll show you the second stretch. And I'm gonna give you a choice today about what you wanna do. So we're gonna take the, standing on the right foot, and I'll have my pretend wall here. So whichever foot we're standing on, that's the side that you'll have the wall with. You're gonna take the other foot across and in front. You're gonna tuck your pelvis under, keep your hips square, and then press the right hip to the wall. So try it out with me. Put your right hand against the wall and put your right foot somewhere where your arm isn't perfectly straight but not too bent. So the right hand is on the wall, right foot is where we're standing for now. And then keep your pelvis square, maybe tuck it under right away, and bring your left foot across and in front of you. So the left foot is across and in front, tucking the pelvis under, and then just start to bring the right hip into the wall. Tuck your tailbone and press up through the crown of the head, so still a long neck. And you should feel a stretch into that whole right side of the hip. You can keep your left hand wherever you want, down by your side or on your hip. You can even use your left hand to gently push your right hip into the wall. So tuck your tail under just a little bit more. Elongate your spine. Square off your hips. Bring that right hip forward. Good, and then to come out of it, you slowly release away from the wall. Bring your left foot back beside your right foot and relax your hand off the wall. Whew, let's do the other side. So put your left hand on the wall, standing on the left leg. Make sure your hand is, or your arm is a little bit bent. And then take your right foot forward and across. So it's a fairly decent sized step forward. Good. Now tuck your tailbone under. Aim your left hip bone forward in front of you, and then start to bring your left hip into the wall. So you're kind of side bending a little bit towards the right. You're going to keep both feet anchored on the ground, tuck your tail under more, and you can use your right hand if you want to gently push your left hip into the wall. Elongated spine. Good. That back leg, or the, I guess it would be the left leg, is slightly internally rotated, just a little bit. And see if you can bring the left hip bone forward. Let's hold for one more breath. You might find your inhale increases the stretch on this one. That's all right. And then you're going to ease your hips away from the wall. Bring your right foot back and relax your arm down by your sides. Okay. Oh, last thing, standing here. Lift all your toes. So all 10 toes float up and roll to the outside of your feet and roll to the insides of your feet. So just keep your spine tall for now, maybe a little bit of posterior tilt and a little reach through the crown of the head. Feet rolling in and out. Good. And then just pause in the center. Put your outside 4 toes down, leave your big toes up. Tuck your pelvis. Good. Press the arch of your foot down, keep your toes up, and shift your weight to your right foot. Start to take your left foot off the floor, but try to keep the arch of the foot down, the big toe up, and the tailbone tucked. And just hold here, lengthening the spine. Arch of the right foot down, toe up, posterior tilts. And then bring the left foot down, and we'll switch. Big toe up and arch down. Tuck the pelvis, elongate the spine. And as you take that right foot off the floor, see if you can maintain your arch down and your big toe lifted and your tail tucked. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and then bring the leg down. And one more time each side, just give your legs a little shake. Good. And we're going to do the opposite now. So lift your outside 4 toes. Press the outside edge of your foot down into the floor, and we'll go to the right first. So tuck your pelvis under, elongate your spine, and shift your weight over to your right leg to pick the left foot up. Outside 4 toes up, and the outside edge of the foot into the floor, holding for 3. Nice easy breaths, 2, and 1, and back to both feet. Switch to the other side, toes up, big toe down. Outside edge of the foot presses into the floor. You tuck your pelvis and you float your right leg off the floor. Your arms can go out to the sides if that helps. They can be on your hips, holding for just another breath. Nice work, everyone, and bring your foot down. Give your legs a little shake out. All right, and here we go. We're gonna go to the wall and lie down L5S1 style. So you can take your book out of the way, don't need that anymore, or your block. If you wanna lie down on your mat, you're just gonna put your mat perpendicular to the wall. And we're gonna lie as per usual, sit bones right up against the wall. Legs can be bent or straight. I'm just gonna adjust my camera a little bit here. Good, and you wanna think about that, what we were just working with, the inside-outside edges of the feet. So we're gonna lie down and take a moment to make sure your sit bones are equally weighted against the wall. So you're reaching both sit bones the same amount into the wall. And we are trying to get the low back to stay nice and flat. So give yourself a moment. Let the low back sink into the floor and reach both sit bones into the wall. Maybe the sit bones are a little bit off the floor, that's fine, but they can reach straight into the wall. Okay, so now we're gonna take our feet and put them flat on the wall. So bend your knees and bring your feet until they're flat. And ideally, everyone's a little bit different, but you want about a 90-degree angle or less. So 90 degrees or less between the thigh and the shin. And now walk your feet in towards each other until they are almost touching but not quite. So almost touching but not quite. Take a couple breaths into your belly, into your low back, and start to sink your sacrum down into the floor. Sink the dimples of your pelvis into the floor. And we're gonna try to open up and sort of regulate the top part of that SI joint, the thumb side, or the thumb part. So take your arms up over your chest. Walk your shoulder blades wide. Let your ribs be flat and wide. Waistline is down. Nod your chin and elongate the back of your neck. And then externally rotate your arms and extend your wrists so your palms are flat to the ceiling and your fingers point to your feet. Okay, from here, the spine stays elongated. Lift your big toes up. Press the arch of the foot into the wall. Really connect the foot, that inside edge, into the wall, and keep that. Bring your arms back towards your ears. Reaching your arms overhead, your biceps are close to the sides of your head. Arms are hovering off the floor. Now keep the arches of your feet down. Press those dimples down into the floor, the back of the pelvis, and start to open the knees without letting the arches of your feet lift. So the arches stay into the wall and you try to open your knees a little more. Press the sacrum down, press the arches into the wall, open your knees a little more. When you've reached the maximum where you can't open your knees anymore, before your arches start peeling away from the wall, you stay there and reach your arms overhead, lengthen your spine, sink your SI joints into the floor and breathe. Be aware of your breath. Maybe after 2 or 3 breath cycles, you can actually move the knees a little more apart, or maybe not. Maybe you can extend the spine a little bit more. One more breath there, sink the SI joints down, press the arches and draw the knees away. And then bring your arms up over your chest. Relax them to your sides. Bring your knees in line with your feet. And then relax your spine and your eyes. And just take a moment, let your whole pelvis, rib cage, and head release and relax into the floor. Nice work, everybody. Hang out here. We're just gonna move the feet. So your sit bones are still up against the wall. Spine is still long and flat. And now you're gonna walk heel to walk your feet wide. They're still going to be about the same level on the wall that they were before. And bring your knees towards one another, but they can't quite touch. So you want your feet to be wide enough that you can bring your knees close and maybe they just get a finger width apart. Maybe they can't quite touch. If your knees easily touch, you walk your feet wider. Okay, so let's elongate the spine here. Reach the tailbone towards the wall. Lengthen and sink the low back. Sink the back of the ribs, the upper back. Bring your arms up over your chest. Externally rotate your arms. Feel your upper back wide into the floor. And then extend your wrists and spread your fingers wide. Let's bring the arms all the way back towards the ears first. And imagine you're tractioning your spine away from your pelvis. So you're using your arms to reach the spine further away from the wall while you reach the tailbone into the wall. And now press the outside edges of your feet more firmly into the wall. Stand on the outside edges of the feet and then bring the knees in a little closer while sinking the bottom of the SI joint into the floor. So you can think about pressing the middle of the sacrum down. If you know where your SI joints are, sink those into the floor. Keep your lumbar spine flat. Reach your arms. If your knees touch, just walk your feet a little bit wider or press the outside edge of the feet into the wall more and then draw your knees towards one another again. Stay with your breath. Think about widening your pelvis and sinking it straight down into the floor. Elongate your neck. Soften your ribs and your jaw. Hold for 10 more seconds. Working with your breath, working in subtleties. Maybe you can just move the knees in a little bit more. Good. Bring your arms up over your chest. Relax them down by your sides. Relax your feet. Bring your feet back in line with your sit bones and just rest your spine. Your legs can go straight or stay bent, whatever feels best for you. Nice work. Just a couple more breaths here. We have 2 more ELDOAs. One that's not the most wonderful and one that is. So happy day. When you're ready, roll onto your side and come on up to a seated position and just, let's just start upright on our sit bones. Make sure you have a little bit of space behind you because what you're gonna do is actually lean back on your elbows. So for now, prop yourself up on your hands behind you. Your fingertips are gonna point towards your hips. Okay, shoulders are just as relaxed as they can be in this position. This is a tough position for the neck and shoulders, so just hang in there. If it's absolutely excruciating, you can't hold it, then just come out of the ELDOA and rest. You're gonna set your feet wide, so your legs are a wide V. And we're gonna just keep that position and lower yourself down onto your elbows. And ideally, your elbows are under your shoulders. Okay, good. Go ahead and flex your feet. I'm gonna move myself back a little bit. Flex your feet. See if you can walk your elbows a little further back and sink all the way to your belly button level towards the floor. So the sacrum and the low back are sinking down. They may not go flat, that's okay. Turn your legs in, which is already hard. Shine the soles of your feet in, so invert your feet. Pull your big toes up towards you and then pull them down towards the floor. And now push your heels away and elongate your spine to traction the crown of your head away from your sacrum. This is the ELDOA for the general SI joint on both sides. You're pushing your heels away. You're pressing your sacrum and your SI joints into the floor. Use your exhale to drop down, and then use the length out through the crown of your head to traction the rest of your spine away from that sacrum. And hold here just for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your feet first, release your legs. Come slowly up onto your hands. Good, and then just to show you a modification for that, off we go back to the wall. You're gonna put your legs up the wall. So back to your sit bones right against the wall. And if we do this ELDOA again in classes, now you'll know this is your modification if you can't do that elbows position. Once your sit bones are against the wall and your spine is nice and centered and long, open your legs out to about the same V that they were in when you were sitting just now. Flex your feet, turn your legs in, invert your feet, and pull your toes down towards the floor. So the big toe joint is pulling down and towards one another. Press your sacrum into the floor, and then you'll take your arms up over your chest, externally rotate, and bring your arms back towards your ears. And the same idea, press your SI joints into the floor, push your arms overhead, and traction the rest of your spine away from your sacrum as your legs turn in and your heels push away. And you just hold that for a few seconds. I'm gonna come and have a closer look. Try and work with your breath. Don't overdo the effort. Use an awareness of your breath. Just tuck your chin a little bit more so your neck is long. Good, bring your arms up over your chest. Relax them by your sides. Relax your feet. And bring your legs back in line with your pelvis. Good, take a couple of breaths there. We're gonna finish tonight with L5S1. So when you're ready, just, if you're not at the wall, go ahead and bring yourself to the wall. Take a couple nice deep breaths here. It's a lot of work on those quads, I know, lots of work on the hip flexors. Hang in, L5S1 should help reset everything. All right, here we go. I'll start it with you, and then I'm gonna come to the camera to have a closer look. So, legs can be bent or fully straight. Start with your lumbar spine, sinking it towards the floor. Let your waistline, the bottom of your ribs, and your upper back sink down into the floor a little bit more. Bring your arms up over your chest as we've been doing all night long. Externally rotate your arms and extend your wrists and pause here. Maybe you can externally rotate your arms 1 more degree. Then sink your upper back down between your shoulder blades, nod your chin and slide the back of your head away from your shoulder blades. Flex your feet, straighten your knees. Internally rotate both thighs, invert both feet, pull your toes down and stretch your heel bones up. Feel the sacrum in the floor. Feel the lumbar spine long and flat. When you're ready, on an inhale, bring your arms to your ears. Inhale your arms all the way back towards your ears. You decide how much effort, 50%, 80%, maybe 100%. Eyes are down and chin is tucked. As your calf muscles press gently to the wall and your heels stretch up, I want you to feel your sacrum sink down, and then use your arms and the upper part of your spine to traction your lumbar spine away from the bottom or the top of the sacrum. So use your breath as a gauge of effort. Draw an outline around your whole body and expand through it. And you have about 10 more seconds. A calm focus on your low back, drawing L5 away from S1. Just one more breath if you can. And then bring your arms up over your chest slowly. Relax them to the floor. Keep your legs and your spine for a moment. And then relax your legs. Relax your spine and your eyes. And just stay there and rest. Nice work, everyone. That was really good work. Hopefully you have a very good sense of your sacrum now.